So, g'day. I'm Davies, founder of AgUnity. And in the last 12 months, we've profoundly changed the lives of some of the world's poorest farmers. And we did that not by any sort of charity means, but by driving real economic growth within their communities. How this started is a pretty interesting story. John and I come from banking. John's a lawyer, so we're two of the worst people in the world. We'd sold a company in Singapore, and we were developing some blockchain technology for banking. And then it turns out we went to a FinTech conference in London 2 years ago today. 2 years ago last month. And there was a competition, a hackathon competition with a big prize from Singularity University. So we challenged ourselves to come up with the biggest idea we could, a way to improve lives or increase income for 1 billion people. We're trying to win a prize, right? Our idea was for the 1 billion poorest farmers in the world, families that have only a couple of acres of land that survive on only a few dollars a day. But to really understand their challenges and to ensure our idea would really work, we did something special. We went out and spent months living and working with these farmers in some of the most remote rural communities all over the world. And in our pilot projects in Kenya and Papua New Guinea, the results surprised even us. We increased the average farmer income by 3 times in a single season. And we didn't really use any expensive technology and no magic beans or anything to do that. The problem we solve is something so simple that people in development, when I tell this story in Australia, I really have to sort of explain why. Because the problem we solve is a simple lack of trust in really developing countries. It's the farmers, most of our farmers have never had a smartphone before, most of them can't read, and they're reluctant to share equipment or work together as a group because there's no record keeping system. So our solution is a blockchain and smartphone application that helps the farmers plan, trade and share equipment securely. It solves the problem that if I'm the farmer and I hand you my cocoa beans, there's a secure record to make sure we all get paid. Or if I use the combine harvester of the cooperative, the combine harvester guy knows he's going to get paid at the end of the season. This is Muriki, one of the farmers from Kenya. There's commercial farms near him. They get about 26 bags per acre. Muriki, in the last couple of years, he was getting about 4 to 6 bags. So he's getting like a quarter of what the commercial farms get. It's mainly because he doesn't have access to equipment. This is actually how they harvest the grain. By getting them together in a cooperative, we managed to get them to share equipment, and we increased the average farmer income from $300 up to $1,000, and they have 2 seasons a year, so we made them an extra $1,400 a year.
Hello, my name is Eshla from Bougainville. We are working with AgUnity to set up cooperatives all over Bougainville.
So Ursula's from Papua New Guinea, and we're working with cocoa farmers there, and by getting them to cooperate again, to ferment and dry as a group and then sell together, we took the average farmer's income from about $35 a month up to $120 a month. And really all we're doing is making the farmers cooperate together as a group. The reason they couldn't do it before is because they wouldn't want to hand things over because they weren't be sure if they'd get paid. So when we presented this at the hackathon, Gates Foundation were there. I mean, we were just trying to win a prize, but they love the idea and they actively encourage us to take it seriously. And we've had incredible support from a number of other NGOs, including IFC, to run this project in many different countries. So as a result, we have 16 projects in a dozen countries, and I think that's old. I think we're probably up to about 20 now. Ethiopia is one of the projects we're running this year, and so we're very interested in doing Egypt not too far after that. We have a completely unique approach to how we do this. We don't try to charge the farmers anything up front. We give them a free phone, and it's a pretty good. We get these for about $30 out of China, but it's a pretty good 4G smartphone. We give them the phone, we give them the application, we help them increase their income and form a cooperative. But then after we've increased their income, we discovered something really strange, and this hit us in Kenya. If you live in a really remote village and you've suddenly got $1,000 extra, you actually have another really big problem. There's nothing in that village to spend that money on. And in Bougainville, that was really apparent. The only thing the farmers could buy with their extra $100 was alcohol. So what we do is we also have a marketplace in the application. So when the farmers have extra income, we make valuable goods and services available to the farmers that they can order online. So we're essentially, our business model is more like Amazon.
Factory has been running in Indonesia since 1993, so at this point these kits are sold all over the world, and we are really excited about this partnership that we now have with AgUnity, because it gives us an opportunity to ensure that these really high quality products, which rarely get to the most remote communities, are made available to the most remote communities and accessible to them because they can pay for them through the installment systems that AgUnity provides.
So we have a sort of a payment plan that farmers can say they want a solar lighting kit, and then rather than my Sundial having to sell one solar lighting kit out into the backlogs of Bougainville or somewhere, they can sell 100 through the cooperative, and that makes it commercially viable for their company, and it makes it easy for the farmers to get these things. And we're also doing things like one-click microloans, because as everyone knows, microloans are absolutely essential in really developing communities, but they're administratively, they're not economically viable to be provided. It costs you more to administer the cost of providing and collecting the payments on a microloan than it does any interest on it, any interest you made. So microloans don't really work, but because we have the farmer in a system and their income comes through it, we can give them the money, we can deduct it, without the microloan company even going near the country.
The organization has been given the phone. We started to do this one will be very helpful to do communication with the buyer.
So this is something really interesting that's a side effect of what we're doing. So because we've got a phone in the hands of the farmer and we're tracing the origin of the goods, we can trace those goods right from the production, in this case hedges from a remote island in Solomon Island. We know that when he harvested the cocoa, we know when it went to the fermenters, when it went to the dryers, when it got shipped to Makira, when it got shipped out of Makira, when it was shipped out of Honiara, when it was made to chocolate by this guy here in Brisbane, and he makes a chocolate bar that has a QR code on it. You can scan the QR code and you can see the video right back, and this is not Hedges, this is Agnes. You get to see the origin of your chocolate right back to the farmer that grew your chocolate. And that makes a really nice story when you're enjoying your chocolate. So we're trying to put this into a major hotel chain at the moment. What I'm really excited about though is we're working with Asia Development Bank with coffee out of Laos and East Timor. And the really nice idea is you go in and you get your coffee from your barista and you get a QR code on your receipt. And you scan your QR code and you can see the farmer that you grew your coffee. And you can feel good for yourself for the day knowing that not only are you enjoying your coffee, but the person that grew those coffee beans got paid fairly. And the next thing we're trying to do is create a system whereby you can tip that farmer and she can say thank you, all while you're enjoying your morning coffee. And so just finally, one thing for the developers here, we designed AgUnity as a platform. So we have a mobile phone application. We give the farmers a phone, we've connected up the farmers. It sits on Android and it's locked down with a secure private key. We alter the operating system so these are securely locked to the farmer's identity. We've also created an asynchronous communication protocol. This basically means our phones work when there's no signals, and a few other people know about this problem. And that writes to a cloud service, and that writes to a blockchain ledger, so we have blockchain as a component of this. And then we have an alternative communication channels. We have a few other ways that this network can communicate back. And finally, we have secure push updates that push out. So we can control everything that's on that phone. The farmer only gets the applications we decide and we can push them all out. So what we're trying to do with this, and we're talking with KPMG about it now, is we have a plug-in architecture where a developer can create a module. And one of the ones we're working with CSIRO, which is the government scientific organisation, and Gates Foundation at the moment, is to create a crop disease tracker where farmers can enter in details of diseases. CSIRO can data mine that one and provide advice back to the farmers. And this is not us, this is a module that can be created very easily because we provide all the rest of this framework. So someone can create just a single interface, we can give them the communication layer, the device is already in the hands of the farmer, we can give them the cloud service and we can give them blockchain to write to it. So this is a really interesting way, specifically designed to work at hackathons so that people can create add-ins and distribute them to thousands and potentially one day millions of developing world farmers. So thank you very much, and I'll be very, very interested, very happy to answer your questions later.